Greetings, family. This is Brother Bobby. I'm coming to you with another segment about our story here in the United States. Today, we'll be dealing with the issue of the Constitution. While the Constitution was actually written by 55 white representatives of the United States of America that was forming with the 13 colonies, it would only be 39 of those 55 that would actually sign the Constitution. Within the Constitution itself, there are only 6 articles or amendments, including the preamble, that pertain to us. We'll be discussing only those 6 that apply to the black people of America. First, we'll be starting with the preamble to the Constitution. The preamble is the beginning of the Constitution, and I will be reading from this book right here, United States Government. Now, you can find this in any government textbook, and usually you can find it in history books itself. So I will be reading just the first 3. The other 3, which will be the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, I'll be talking to you in depth about those 3 when I get to those items. First, we're going to start with the preamble. The preamble reads as follows: "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." Now, brothers and sisters, we must understand this preamble. In the preamble, there are only 3 words that are very important to everyone in this country. So this preamble is very subliminal. Now, this is a misogynistic society. In other words, they hate women, and they also hate minorities. This Constitution will show you how, as I explained it to you. In this preamble, the 3 words that you need to concern yourselves with is we, ourselves, and our. Now, I'm going to read again whether we, ourselves, and our is in the preamble. The we is at the very beginning. We, the people of the United States. The our, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity. Well, what exactly is that talking about, and whom is it talking about? This is talking about white males. It has nothing to do with anyone else but white males at that time and to this very day. Now, anyone can debate this, but the evidence is obvious as we continue on with this Constitution for people of color. So we, ourselves, and our pertains to white men. Now, as you know, women did not have the right to vote until when? The 16th Amendment is when women had the right to vote. So that is the preamble, and that pertains to everyone in the United States that is not a part of the white male majority of this country. So that is the preamble. So then we'll move on. We'll move on to Article 1. In just a minute. Article 1. Okay, Article 1, Section 2, item number 3. Now, I will not be reading the entire verbiage here because it is very lengthy. I will just read a portion of, again, Article 1, Section 2, item number 3. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole numbers of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. Now, they actually teach this in government class, but they don't tell you the entire story behind what I just read. Let me explain this to you. When they were forming this Constitution, where they were trying to figure out how to come up with revenue, how to come up with money for the country itself. So they said that the indigenous people, again, and those are the Arawak Haitians, and the Arawak Haitians, who they call Indians, were people of color. Understand that. They were not Caucasian. They were people of color. So who is, or who were, and who are to this very day, the three-fifths all other persons? Well, at this particular time, they were talking about the slaves. Why three-fifths? Because they were saying that we were part animal. So you have to understand this. This is what it is conveying to us with this three-fifths all other persons. They know this, but they're not going to tell you this. Very few people will tell you this, but that is what it's talking about. And again, that's Article 1, Section 2, and that would be item number 3. So the third thing that we will go to concerning the Constitution and people of color, we will be going to Article 1, Section 9, item 1. The migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall not proper to admit shall be prohibited by Congress prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation not exceeding $10 for each person. Ladies and gentlemen, that is talking about the slave trade. Well, how is that talking about the slave trade? Now, according to United States history, the slaves were emancipated in 1865, and this was based on the 13th Amendment, and there were actually 3 13th Amendments, but I'm only going to talk about the third one, which is the one that supposedly emancipated the black man that was enslaved here in the United States. So what is this the year 1808? Well, 1808 is when they said that the profiteering and bringing of black Africans into this country to be enslaved would not be prohibited. It would be prohibited, which means no longer could you bring the slaves into the United States. But as it continues on, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation not exceeding $10 for each person. Brothers and sisters, family, what this is saying is, well, we're going to abolish the slave trade coming into the United States, but if you continue to bring such people into this country, we want $10 for each person. Do the math. They made a lot of money, even though they said they had abolished slavery with Section 9, Item 1. Now, I will no longer be reading from the book because the next three are 3 that we all know, but they have not been explained to us correctly. The next one, which would be item number 4 that we'll be talking about, will be the 13th Amendment. And again, there are 13 amendments. The 13th Amendment that pertains to black people is the one that supposedly emancipated us following slavery in 1865. But you have to be very careful with the language. Involuntary servitude or slavery shall be abolished except for a crime or punishment. To this very day, the majority of the people that's in the prison system are those of people of color. Even though we only make up 12%, which is number 3 in the population in the United States, we make up the majority of the prison population. Why? Because of the 13th Amendment. The 14th Amendment gave us citizenship in 1868. Here's the question that you need to ask yourself and anyone who brings up the 14th Amendment. Well, when did the people get together, the slaves, former slaves, and their ancestors, and ask to be a part of this nation? Why didn't you ask them, did they want to return home or leave outside the United States? Everyone did not want to reside here. So they kept us here, really against our will. So in essence, we are a nation within a nation based off of the 14th Amendment. Now, lastly, the item number 6 would be the 15th Amendment. The 15th Amendment gave who the right to vote? Black men only. Yet another piece of evidence in the Constitution that tells you this country is misogynistic. Why didn't you give the black woman the right to vote? Why? Well, of course, they did not at that time, they hadn't given the white woman the right to vote. So, of course, they were not going to give the black woman the right to vote. But even though the 15th Amendment granted black men the right to vote, they did not exercise this right. Why? Well, first of all, you had the Klan, and you had other things that were out there that kept blacks from voting, such as lynching. Many times, if you went to the polls attempting to vote, you could meet such dire straits. You could suffer death itself, or including beatings and other things that would take place. So this will conclude another segment concerning our history pertaining to the Constitution of the United States. Again, if you would like for me to lecture, I can be contacted at shalom01@yahoo.com. That is SHOLOMHO1@yahoo.com. Again, that is SHOLOMHO1@yahoo.com. Until the next segment, I wish you the best. Have peace and blessings among you and increases among you. And I say to you, Shalom. I say to you, Assalamu alaikum. I say to you, greetings. Until next time, Hotel.